would just be like completely disproportionate to what life was actually throwing up. And that's where the conversation around homesick came, because people could just sense that when I answered questions about how I was going, I was a bit sort of, oh yeah, but, And
plus you're a great speaker and you play on the moon.
And they're going, great, well, you're probably just homesick. So that for me, I just missed the concept. I didn't really understand mental health at all at this stage. The concept of me not being able to sleep was completely strange. And I was really just sitting there freaking out about everything and all the issues and stressed and mind racing and all that sort of stuff. I just couldn't calm myself down.
You won a premiership, but it wasn't the best career from an injury perspective. You just couldn't get on the park. When did the mental health and the challenges of getting up in the morning and grinding through recovery, being on the injury list, did you start feeling the pressure of the mental health kick in? Because you retired not long after the premiership, a couple of years after, I believe. Mm-hmm. Take us through the journey to the premiership and how your mental health was, and obviously the injuries. And then you had a great game. And I want to unpack that and then dive into some of the stuff you're doing today.
I would say that the three things that caused me to miss the most footy in my career were a shoulder injury, which probably kept me out for 5 or 6 weeks, mental health leave, which kept me out for 6 or 7, and then a back injury, which kept me out for 6 or 7 as well. So I actually didn't miss that many games, realistically. Correct. I played quite a few in the VFL or in the NEFL up in Sydney. And so I don't know exactly what the count would be, but I must have played something around 100 games in 5.5 years, which is pretty much like, it's not much off the pace. Like you have guys obviously like Bont or Josh Kelly up until recently who basically don't miss any footy, but that's irregular for key position players in particular. So in terms of the volume of footy played, I played a lot during that time, but I missed basically these 3 big buckets. Like, I'll give you an example of when I didn't miss footy. We played a game in Port Adelaide where I compound dislocate my finger with 5 minutes to go, right? Bones coming out, blood's gone everywhere. It's disgusting. So I put it back in, I go off. Instead of flying home the next morning, I believe, I get straight on a plane so that I can get back to Melbourne and have surgery straight away when I get home the next morning, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I flew out with the team. And me and Lucas Webb, who was a teammate of mine, he had a wrist surgery to do as well, so we both left. I had my finger operated on, cleaned up. I woke up in surgery because you're only sort of, you have basically a sedative, not an anaesthetic, and talked to the surgeon for 2 minutes, went back to sleep. Anyway, I played that Friday night.
Wow.
You turn around in 6 days. So players are extraordinarily resilient. They have to be. And that's the way that the club and the business is set up, right? You have an asset that's worth, let's call it $1 million a year for me at the time, essentially can work 26 weeks of the year if you play all of them. And the likelihood they're going to let you sit on the sidelines is almost zero, right? I hurt my shoulder quite badly in my first season at the Giants. I played the next week, right? The surgeon sat me down and said, you need surgery. I play the next week. And that's like, it's not woe-be Tom. Like, everyone does this. Yeah. It just depends to what degree. And so to answer your question around the mental health stuff, I think the first experience that I had when it came into the fold for me was really when I was at the Giants, right? And it came in a really simple way, which was I just couldn't sleep at night. And it didn't make any sense to me because I was so tired, right? I was exhausted. I was doing 50 or 60 Ks a week on the training track, or thereabouts in Sydney. First AFL preseason is the hardest thing you ever do. All these extra training, cardio, boxing, whatever, gym, Pilates, and so on and so forth physically. Then you got to learn a new team, a new town, a new game plan, a new way of life. Like you're exhausted. And so for me, the concept of me not being able to sleep was completely strange. And I was really just sitting there freaking out about everything and all the issues and stressed and mind racing and all that sort of stuff. So that was number one. The second thing for me was that off the back of that, I started to have this sort of, I probably would have called it nervousness at the time, but, call it stress, call it anxiety, whatever you want to call it. It was basically like I just couldn't calm myself down. And it was like I was amping myself up for, a big game of footy or a exam, which had been relevant obviously at that time for me. But the problem was there was nothing going on. It was like a Wednesday afternoon and this would happen.
And that feeling would come up.
It would just be like completely disproportionate to what life was actually throwing at me.
Yeah.
And that's where the conversation around homesick came, because people could just sense that when I answered questions about how I was going, I was a bit sort of, oh yeah, but. And
plus you're a great speaker and you play on the moon.
Yeah,
so
right.
all of a sudden there was seen a shift in that as well.
And they're going, great, well, you're probably just homesick. And so that for me, I just missed the concept. I didn't really understand mental health at all at this stage.
you.